Walt Disney's signature wasn't Walt Disney's signature.
So whose is
Walt
it?
Disney.
How is it going today, loyalists? Kingdom, my name's Dwayne.
My name's Jazz.
We're Dwayne and Jazz. Today we have for you 10 more everyday things that prove your life is a lie.
So you've probably been doing things wrong.
Wrong this whole time and we didn't even know it.
That's like whenever I pronounce stuff wrong and nobody corrects me. And then like one day, like after years, someone corrects me and I be mad.
Yeah.
I'm like, so y'all
just gonna let me hang out? Yeah.
Right.
Anyway, guys, if you have a rash request, please follow us on all our social media in the link in the description below. And don't forget to
subscribe.
Just that one.
The truth is a complicated business. In fact, it turns out that the truth is so complicated, it often isn't even the truth.
Okay.
We're all
It does
partial
like
to a
he's
good
holding
story,
his triple.
and when a story's good enough, it can easily trump the facts. So much of what we think we know needs a thoroughly good fact check. Here's 10 more everyday things that prove your life is a lie.
Okay.
Amazing!
Things scare me.
every time.
10. Van Gogh didn't cut off his own ear.
What?
Dutch painter Vincent van Gogh was famously mad.
He was famous for cutting off his ear, so that didn't happen?
The day he became so angry after a fight with fellow painter Paul Gauguin, he decided to cut off his own ear. Charmingly, Van Gogh then strolled to his favorite brothel and presented the severed ear to a prostitute.
Yes, as a gift.
Preferred flowers. So the story goes, but is it just a story? Art historians Hans Kaufmann and Rita Wildegans have mined the letters of Van Gogh and Gauguin and believe the most famous act of self-mutilation in history is a cover-up for the fact that Gauguin, a fencing ace, cut the ear off himself during a fight between the two. The argument between them is known to have taken place close to the brothel.
Really?
So that may help explain Van Gogh's otherwise baffling bloodstained visit to a prostitute. Surely it's the more plausible story. Number 9. The Declaration of Independence wasn't signed on July the 4th.
Okay.
Every year, Americans celebrate Independence Day on July the 4th, but they're celebrating the wrong day. Documents aren't official until they're signed, sealed, and delivered, and the slothful founding fathers didn't get around to putting pen to paper until nearly a month later, the 2nd of August. The Second Continental Congress met in Philadelphia on the 1st of July, 1776, to begin discussing the document, and Congress voted through the Declaration of Independence on the 4th of July, hence the date of celebration. But no official document was signed until the following month, and lawyers will tell you that's a loophole you could drive a bus through.
Wow.
In fact, 2 of the delegates, John Dickinson and Robert R. Livingston, never found time to sign the document at all. If Britain finds a good enough lawyer, perhaps they can prove America never became independent at all. Number 8.
Maybe we're not
Blackboard chalk isn't made of chalk. We all know our teachers lied to us, but did you know that they lied to you every time they told you to go up to the blackboard and write something in chalk? Blackboard chalk isn't made of chalk. It's made from the powder of a rock called gypsum, which is known as the rock nobody knows.
That's the rock no one knows.
Given the fact that we all thought it was chalk. Chalk and gypsum share many similarities. They both contain calcium and oxygen, and form from mineral deposits in the sea. But the presence of sulfur in gypsum distinguishes it from chalk. Chalk would be perfectly good for writing on blackboards, but gypsum is heavily mined, and ease of availability is the main reason it has seriously encroached on chalk's territory without receiving any credit. It's also worth pointing out that most blackboards aren't actually black. They're green.
Oh, well, that's true, yeah.
Twice in one breath. The reason for green blackboards is simple. Studies have revealed that the color green relaxes our eyes and prevents fatigue. Number 7.
Oh, does it?
A
Because I
penny
still get
dropped from
stressed.
the Empire State Building won't kill you. It turns out that this urban myth really is a myth.
You heard
the
that
belief
too,
in the
right?
power of pennies to cause head trauma is understandable. After all, we all watch big sporting events where moronic fans hurl pennies at officials and players and occasionally draw blood. What would happen if that same penny accelerated all the way from a skyscraper? Not very much is the slightly disappointing answer.
Wow.
Louis Bloomfield, a physicist at the University of Virginia, used wind tunnels to test the theory and found that pennies reach a terminal velocity of only 25 miles per hour, thanks to their non-aerodynamic shape. The drag force of air against them. Bloomfield notes that at that speed, a penny would only glance off you. Though if a penny was to somehow fall on you in a vacuum, it would be a slightly different matter. With air resistance, removed pennies could reach 200 miles per hour, but still wouldn't drill through your skull. Ballpoint pens are the ones to look out for, according to Bloomfield. Because of their shape, they can cut through the air like an arrow, and could chip the sidewalk or punch into wood.
Oh, well,
perhaps
we
New
know not to
Yorkers
throw
should
pens
invest in
over.
Kevlar hats. Number 6. Humpty Dumpty wasn't an egg.
Get the...
Listen carefully to this.
Bruh, oh my
Dumpty sat
god.
on a wall. Humpty Dumpty had a great fall. All the king's horses and all the king's men couldn't put Humpty together again. At no point in the rhyme is an egg mentioned.
But the pictures always show the egg.
Presented as an egg.
Humpty Dumpty might not have been an egg.
As for example, in Puss in Boots. It's certainly true that an egg would be pretty tough to put together again if it fell off a wall.
So would a human being.
But so would anything if it fell off a big enough wall.
So it's really
why would
just making it a safe way.
Men be so concerned about a broken egg that they wanted to restore it to pristine condition? Let's face it, the egg theory has a lot of, holes in it. It seems more likely that the tale of Humpty Dumpty refers to a cannon that was blown off a wall during the siege of Colchester in 1648.
Wow.
Or is a metaphor for the death in battle of King Richard III. Both events would have involved the king's horses and men, but no eggs. Number 5.
That's interesting. That's wow.
Edison didn't invent the light bulb.
Alright,
Thomas Edison was one of the world's
I don't
greatest
know.
inventors.
Okay.
So great, he even gets the credit for things he didn't invent. The first light produced through electricity appeared in 1806, over 40 years before Edison was born.
What?
Englishman Humphrey Davy was the intrepid scientist who invented the arc lamp by triggering an electric spark between two charcoal rods. Unfortunately, the arc lamp was so bright it was impractical for most purposes, though it was used in lighthouses. Edison's defining contribution to electric lighting was to solve the problem of how to produce light through electricity without either blinding homeowners or melting the bulb. He did so by stretching out carbonized threads that would come to be known as filaments until they could burn safely for up to 600 hours. Edison perfected and popularized electric lighting, but he didn't invent it.
Wow, so he just refined it.
Yeah. Get hit on the head by an apple. History's most
so
hilarious
where are we getting
moment never happened. There is something intrinsically amusing about a great scholar coming up with a landmark theory of gravity after being pinged on the head by a falling apple.
Right.
But unfortunately, there is no evidence that an apple ever hit Sir Isaac Newton on the head. The apple anecdote comes from a quote by Newton's friend, William Stuckley, who recalls sitting beneath an apple tree in Newton's garden when he told me he was just in the same situation as when formerly the notion of gravitation came into his mind, occasioned by the fall of an apple, as he sat in a contemplative mood. You'll note that a note in this anecdote doesn't specify that the apple hits Newton on the head. It just reassures those of us intimidated by intellectual genius that even brainiacs get punked by nature. Number 3. C-3PO's leg was silver. Ask anyone to describe
I thought he was all gold. Wait.
The most famous fictional robot in the world, and they'll say something like, that annoying gold robot from Star Wars who talks all the time and has an unrequited love for R2-D2? It just goes to show that the truth hides in plain sight. Open your eyes, people. In the original Star Wars trilogy, one of C-3PO's legs is silver below the knee. No less a source than Anthony Daniels, the actor who plays C-3PO, confirmed it. And also confirmed that even people on set failed to spot the silver leg.
Why?
Stills photographer John Jay came up to me one day and said, "Why are you wearing a silver leg today?" Daniels recalled. He also notes that the silver leg caused problems when filming, as it acted like a mirror and reflected the surroundings.
So why is it silver?
This is why J.J. Abrams got rid of the silver leg for the new movies. C-3PO no longer has a silver leg, but he did. Number 2. Humans didn't evolve from chimpanzees or apes.
Okay, thank you. That
Charles
makes sense
Darwin
now.
famously sat on his theory of evolution for 20 years, afraid of the uproar it would cause in society if he was to trace human lineage back to a time when we resembled apes. You'll be relieved to hear that humans did not exactly evolve from apes or monkeys.
Thank you.
However, we do share a common ancestor with them.
Okay.
According to scientists, this common ancestor lived between 5 and 8 million years ago before splitting off into 2 new directions. One path led to modern humans, and the other to gorillas and chimps.
Okay.
This in turn means that this monkey-to-man drawing we're all so familiar with is actually not an accurate illustration of Darwinian evolutionary theory. To
but why is he like on like a stripper pole?
That's
what I'm trying to figure out.
Homo sapien should consist of other ancestors that led to humans, but not monkeys or gorillas. That's just wrong since we never evolved from them.
Okay.
There is also the problem that scientists view evolution as a complex process.
I said that, I was like, why are they still around them?
Instead of a ladder of predictable progress like the graphic suggests. The misleading image has likely prevailed because it is simple to understand. Those PG Tips adverts where chimps sit around drinking tea aren't based on historical evidence. Number 1. Walt Disney's signature wasn't Walt Disney's signature.
So whose is
Walt Disney has one of the most famous signatures in the world.
Yes.
Disney movies are watched by millions and begin with that famous curly signature, which also doubles as the Disney logo.
Wow, that's not
handwriting does not, however, belong to Walt Disney. Don't believe me? Perhaps you'll believe handwriting experts who've compared Disney's signature on legal documents with the one on Disney films and found obvious differences. It appears that Walt's signature was embellished by Disney artists to create a more striking look. The signature is actually by Hank Porter, Walt's assistant, who worked in the promotions department and was one of the few people authorized to sign Walt's name at the studio. And sign he did, thousands of times. And that wouldn't be the first time Disney has taken credit for work that wasn't his own. Disney's most iconic character, Mickey Mouse, was never drawn by Walt.
What?
The founder of Disney sketched out ideas for the character, but it was Disney animator UbiWorks who drew the original Mickey Mouse. It seems like the world took a light at
Wow. Oh, my mind.
About the Disney one.
Make sure you guys check out Be Amazed. Very good channel. Very informative. Just blew our minds. Lord.
As many Disney movies I have seen.
His signature is not a signature. He never invented Walt Disney. It's just like this movie we saw called The Founder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, cause man.
It's a dog-eat dog.
Y'all watch that movie. Watch The Founder. It's on Netflix.
Yeah, it was really good. We wanted to see it before
too. It's about McDonald's, so some of y'all might be interested in that. But like the one about the monkeys thing really made sense because I'm like, okay, because I asked that before.
You asked me that before,
like,
and I couldn't give you.
And a lot of people were like, us just a common ancestor, not that we evolved from it. I'm like, okay, because that didn't make sense to me. Because I'm like, why would they still be here if we evolved from it? Like that means that like some of them were like, what, stupid? Like they didn't make it.
Right? They never evolved. Like what happened?
I'm like so we evolved from monkeys, but yet they're still monkeys. So that never made sense to me. So now they said that it's a common ancestor. So I'm like, okay, cool. So,
yeah. Okay. Yeah.
But and 4th of July should be on 2nd of August. So we should be celebrating 2nd of August.
Thomas Edison didn't invent the light bulb. He just
made a safe one.
He just like reinvented it. I mean, not reinvented it, but just made a safe one, like you said.
He just made a safer one.
Yeah, So. And then Isaac Newton never got hit in the head with an apple.
This just tells me everything that in school is just.
Remember when they did that little thing in school where they have you like sit in a like a line and you'll have a sentence to say and then see how gossiping works and then how it gets back to the last person.
Oh, telephone.
Yeah, telephone.
Yeah. How you like if y'all haven't played that, it's like you whisper into somebody's ear next to you a sentence and then whatever they hear they whisper to somebody else. And it's interesting because once you play with like a full classroom and then a last person has to like say out loud what the message was, it is completely different from what everybody else has.
Right. So
it just tells you like people interpret things differently.
Or embezzle
and
or
pass it around.
Take what parts they think is better. That's how gossiping is.
Heard and everything.
Yeah, like that's how gossiping is, man.
That's basically how our history is, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So
anyway, guys, please comment below.
Don't forget to like,
subscribe. It's just more, guys. Deuces.